This week we get to meet author Brianna Ari. We discuss writing as flirting, writing as therapy, and discovering hidden talents for Legacy Day. All that and more, so stick around and see what else Damon does. DJ Prime, play the music. Welcome to Damon Does, Conversations with Creatives, your nerd space safe place and where you may find your new fave. I am Damon, father of two, husband of one, and leader of this here Damodcast. My next guest is a musician that plays trombone in the Barbados Police Service Band, but she's here to talk about her newest book, Aeon Flame. Ladies and gentlemen, or wherever you are on the non-binary spectrum, make some noise for Brianna Ari!
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited.
Thank you for taking time out to talk to a perfect stranger. I appreciate it.
Well, friends are just two strangers meeting for the first time, so I love to meet people.
You came to the right place. Before we get started on the questions, where would you like to be found on the internet?
I am found on Threads at Brianna Ari, which is my name, on Pinterest at Ember Scroll Books, Facebook at Ember Scroll Books, and on Instagram at Impress B121.
Is there an interesting story about your Instagram handle?
Well, yes. In my country, there's a calypso competition called the Pick of the Crop. It's every year, and I am a calypsonian. I normally write my own songs as such. I have them produced. So, Impress, EMPRESS. But for my calypso handle, I spell the E with an I. And the B is for Brianna. And I just like the number 121. So my stage name is Impress B in Barbados.
Are you ready to have a conversation? Creative conversation?
Well, yes.
When did you know you wanted to be a writer?
I toyed with the idea a bit last year. Currently, I am studying a master's in international business administration, and sometimes the studying is really intense. So I needed something other than music to get my mind off the quantitative methods and the managerial accounting, because I don't like numbers at all. So I'll be online listening to people like Billy Carson and Dr. B. Serious, and people happen to be like conspiracy theorists, but I was like, what they're saying kind of interesting. So I'm like, people always writing about werewolves. I was writing about vampires, cryptids, and you will have Billy Carson talking about these Anunnaki and Nibiru, all these way out there ideas. So I'm thinking I've heard about these aeons. So I decided to research, and I realized there's not much on them. So I told myself, Brianna, you love to create things. So why don't you create a story based on the eons, give it a romance niche, but still speak on some of the truths out there? Because once you get into my book, you will realize that I talk about the Kundalini, but obviously I named it differently. You'll realize I would talk about reincarnation and remembrance. So I got that inspiration not only from listening to the podcasters like Billy, but I love to create things and I want to leave my mark on this world. So if it can't be my songs, my original songs, then it will have to be my thoughts.
You had sent me some notes, and I am curious about your poetry that you used to write.
Yes.
I'm assuming they evolved, some of them evolved into songs and whatnot. Do you have any interesting stories?
Unlike most women, I like to woo the guy. I do not prefer to be chased, right? So I will write poetry. If I really, really like you, I will sit down and look at something on you. And if it's your eyes, I would just write a poem about your eyes and give it to you. Because for me, I like simple things. And if I really have an attraction to you as a man, I'm going to allow you to see that beautiful side of me. So I normally, well, I got into writing poetry when I wanted to swoon some guys. Yes, the poem started out a little earlier than that. You know, I would write shorter ones when I was a child. Cause I really loved poetry. I never really had confidence in myself, so I never really got out there. Even performing in the police band, it's been so hard for me to do a solo because all eyes are on me. Even to get in front a crowd and sing of myself playing calypsos. I mean, it's been so scary. So I decided to put myself out there not only with writing, but no to this, but because you know what? I am almost 40 and I cannot like hide my talent underneath a bush. I want the world to know Brianna. I want the world to know Empress B. And I would love the world to know my book. And I'm hoping that it finds those for who it's for.
That was a perfect transition. Tell me about your new book. Tell me about Aeon Flame.
Well, the female main character, she is based on me. Some of the struggles that she has endured in the prologue, you know, she had the death of her loved one. My partner died in 2020. Yes, he died from cancer. So, you know, every time I try to, not try, every time I achieve something, I think of him. And, you know, I wanted my book to be able to, how do I put it, reach people and touch people. But then I wanted it to have like a supernatural genre bending fantasy that will fuse cosmic romance, mythic rebellion, and ancestral lore. You know, something new. The female lead is based on me and some of the struggles, I should say heartbreak I went through recently. So for me, writing is therapy. And I also did have my time with therapy to heal from my pain. And his death from cancer left me a single mom. So I had to be raising my son. And this is kind of a part of him, but it's been very hard. Writing is my healing. So I wanted something that could connect with the average person, but you know, still have a little, I don't want to say Star Wars feel because it's not Star Wars, but it's based off the Emerald tablets. Which we think that Star Wars might be based off the Emerald tablets too, but it's a new niche.
One thing I like about indie authors and indie publishing is you get to see a lot of genre building and genre bending and new combinations and things you don't necessarily see all the time. So hearing you bringing a new twist is just really cool. That's awesome.
Well, I'm hoping that my possible audience enjoys it. I already get some rebukes from, well, should I call her a Christian friend? She told me, oh, your books are the money, you know. And I'm like, please, I'm just trying to be creative. I'm not, you know, burning a church, you know. But anything to do with the chakras and the kundalini and the emerald tablet, she said, it's not Christian. And I had to tell her, well, the book is not for you. It's for those who are seeking something new, something to entertain them, you know? But for me not to have her support was kind of hurtful, but I'll keep on pressing on.
What do you wish you had known when you had started out?
Mm, the marketing part is quite difficult, but to me, everything is a learning curve. Like self-publishing on Amazon and then going to draft to digital, learning how to edit, to use their platforms. Everything has been a learning curve. Even making the little promotional snippets of the book to garner interest. That has also been a learning curve, but marketing is, cause it's my one. I now have a big publishing company behind me. I'm actually here in my country. Even though I have it copyrighted with the American Copyright Society, I'm here in my country going back and forth trying to get this book copyrighted in Barbados. Because having it copyrighted twice isn't bad to protect my intellectual property, but all the picking the cover, marketing, pitching to people, editing. And I did have a beta reader, and she loved it, but she helped me to work out some of the plot holes, etc., etc., etc. So I have support there, but it's not just that you just wake up one day and decide I'm going to be a writer. It's so much things behind the scene, and then you have people coming to criticize your work.
I love that you have a certainty about your voice, which is awesome. You have a trust about it. You have the courage to follow what you believe is right, and that's a hard thing to do when you're especially in entertainment spaces. That's really cool. I just wanted to. That's really dope.
Thanks, I appreciate it. Easier said than done, because when you want to break through barriers, sometimes you may have to compromise, but I am not the one. I'd rather create my own table, and that is what building Aeon Flame is, because it's a 7-book saga. Every book building on the previous one and building a whole story. It's not just like a one-off. And I really want to get deep into the lore and linking it with the Egyptian. Well, I don't want to say tablets, because I already linking it to Emerald tablets, but I want to link it to Egypt. Because at one time that was the hub in the world, and every book is the same person but different lifetimes. So sometimes she will reincarnate in different skin. So I don't want my readers to think that I'm biased. She will have different races in each book. I just want people to come with me on this journey and keep an open mind. I'm not trying to convert anyone. I'm just trying to bring something new that can be entertaining to the world. I enjoy doing it too. Because if I didn't enjoy doing it, when I saw how hard it was to edit on some of these, like Kindle publishing, where they just give up and just toss it one side. But when my Christian friend rebuked me, I would have just shut down everything and done. But no, I'm going to push. Got my son there to look back and say, you know what? This is from my mother. This is what she created. So it's like also legacy building for me. Something new, something different.
What's your go-to order at your favorite hometown restaurant?
Now, I like where there's, I don't want to call it high end, but it's up there near Chapter. It's located in Christchurch. My country has 11 parishes, so Christchurch is on the south coast, and it's really catered to like tourists, and it's grilled salmon. I love eating fish, so that's my favorite. But I also like to have me a pork. It's called a ham sandwich. Bitches love pork.
That sounds delicious, and I bet you get all kinds of good fish where you are.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
Color me jealous.
Just maybe one of these days you can bring your family down to Barbados.
What are you curious about?
Well, I am curious about the unknown. Hence why I would be on YouTube. Well, I mean, yeah, I get my inspiration from YouTube or what's not, but I would really like to know what happened, back in the time with the the Alexandria Library. I would like to know what's hidden. I would like to know our origin, because I know like in the Bible the Lord said that we are gods. So I'm curious. So then when you have people like I mentioned already, Billy Carson talking about manifestations. I mean people say he's way out there, but I take what is for me and what is not for me. Just let go. But there's so much mystery in this world. I know there's a God, there's a source to all of this. But I want to know what we as humans, I want to know what we're missing. And I don't think that everything that we demonize is actually demonic. Because how is it that back in the day those Egyptians were so knowledgeable and look at where we are now? What happened? So I would like to know why. So I built a fantasy world based on my curiosities. Even though I embellished some of the lore. They said curiosity killed the cat, but satisfaction brought her back.
What is an interesting corner of mythology or the metaphysical as you explored these concepts? What is something that would surprise your average person that doesn't think about these things?
People assume that the Kundalini is evil. It's just this big power that you're not supposed to tap into, etc., etc., etc. For me, it's okay for me to. I do meditate and I do listen to my healing frequencies and I do my daily affirmations. There's something I do called the soul stretch, and that's how awaken my Kundalini. For those who really seek to know themselves, I think that they should keep an open mind and recognize, because it goes through your chakra system all the way up to your pineal gland. Like when I do meditation like that, where I also get inspiration, so I don't think that those tantric is called the gurus, those ones that used to meditate, those old Indian men. I don't think that they were actually talking to evil spirits. I don't think that they were channeling evil spirits. They were actually learning who they once were. Because we're body, we're soul, and we're spirit. But I find that we just focus most on the physical. But I find that when you focus on your inner world, when you work on your inner world, it makes your outer world better. Even though I mentioned before that I did seek therapy for my grief, I find that the meditation, the healing frequencies, the soul stretching, I got something that's called the cross coral alignment too. It brought me peace. But I know that's not for everybody. So I would tell people to keep an open mind and dare to venture. Don't do anything that you're not ready for. So I want that whatever they read, if they choose to take up my book, when they read about when Renea, she awakens and how, I mentioned the chakras, but I call them by different names that nothing they say in my book, they don't go and try. The world is a spiritual world, and I think that we as humans have spent too much time focusing on the physical. We should spend some time within us, get to know us, going out in nature, hug a tree. I know it sounds like one of those hippies, right? But there's something beautiful about being in nature and just relaxing, meditating, being at peace.
What should I ask you that I didn't know enough to ask?
Well, I would say that you should have asked me about my muse, but I kind of told you that up front, that my interest in writing fantasy came for the Emerald Tablets. And I'll be honest with you, I like Harry Potter, and I like Star Wars. I find that the people that in charge of the entertainment industry just put a lot of truths, and we just think that it's entertainment, you know. And then some of us folklore stuff that we just like, oh, that's evil. But there's darkness and there's light, and there must be balance. But I got my interest in fantasy by as I mentioned before, the same Star Wars, the Harry Potter. I love the fact that she built a whole world with the Harry Potter, and that George Lucas was able to build a whole world with his Star Wars. I would like to build a world with mine. So for me, it's not just stopping at books. I have ideas, but that's when God's spare life, I become more established and people become more interested. But for me, this is just not a hobby. I can build a world out of this. There are so many people that I can impact through this. So I don't think of an idea. I just do it on a whim. I just look further down the road just in case. And then I just keep on tweaking. But the Aeon Flame could very well birth a whole new movement in this world where people will probably focus on the inner space, you know, the universe, the you inverse. In other words, the you that is within. I start focusing so much on the outside. Because when you are peaceful and balanced within, outside, a lot of things will face you. And I think that we need a lot more of that in this world. There's too much conflict. We need more peace.
If you could create a new holiday, what would it commemorate?
Well, I would create a legacy there. Why? Where we would honor the unseen labors of the soul. There's so many people out there that have such beautiful ideas, such beautiful gifts within them, and because of where they are in life or probably in the fear, because remember I told you I was a sufferer. I don't suffer from stage fright. I would get very anxious when it comes to playing the solo on my trombone or even singing, because I sing in the police band as well. But a legacy day where we would celebrate the unpublished works, the unfinished canvases, the whispered dreams. And we would celebrate these legacies even if the world does not collapse. Because I am a big person on celebrating even the littlest wings. That's me. I try, I'm not going to say that it works all the time, but I try to be very, very grateful for the littlest thing, So I find that if we will learn to enjoy these little things, reference to the whole things, I think that our gratitude could pave way to bring greater things.
How would you celebrate it, and what time of year?
I probably will look at the spring equinox because that's really for like new beginnings and what's not. Because I am a big believer in times and seasons. Spring would be like rebirth. And how? Well, for me, it would be like, reading my book to people. For those unknown artists out there that don't have like a studio they could like showcase, it'd be just like a celebration for those unknowns because yes, we have these celebrities and what's not, but there are many people in this world who are so talented, right? But because they have not been seen by the right person, they're never known. So it'll be a day to celebrate them, for them to come forth and share their light with the world. Because we need more light in this world. Yeah. Give them a chance to share their voice, their talents, their presence, their essence with the rest of us. But I can't pinpoint a particular date, but something during the spring equinox would be great.
Man, that would be really cool because then there's no doubt that if we had a day like this, that so many new artists or writers, what I'm using that artist as a big term here, as a general term, but being able to be able to find new fans of your work, and you become a fan of somebody else's work, and you've never even heard of each other. That's a really cool idea. That'd be awesome.
Yes, and it will bring some kind of community because we are all part of one race, the human race. All of us bleed the same color. So it will help us to stop with this divide, bring us together.
Why create?
For me, that is how we survive. Stories outlive empires. Songs travel through bloodlines. There's something called epigenetics, where I don't want to call it generational trauma, but where certain traits are passed down through genetics. Like you'll find that a family will got people that full of cancer, pass from mother to daughter, from daughter to granddaughter, But that's the same thing with creativity and same thing with art. It makes the invisible matter. Well, I refuse to be silenced. I refuse to let my fear silence me because you have this fear of rejection. I want to leave my mark in this world. I don't want that when I close my eyes, that I die with any regrets. So I am going to be 40 this year. God spares my life. And I want that when my eyes close and I go back to source, that I die empty, meaning to say that every idea that could have birthed something beautiful in this world, I was actually able to do that. Knowing that I had this mystical world in my mind and in my heart, and imagine me not sharing this with the world. That's an indictment on me. I think that we should try to leave the world better than how we found it. For me, my story will find the readers for who is intended. As I said before, I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Some people call it blasphemy, brand my books, but some people will enjoy it. I am ready for that experience. In other words, Aeon Flame is saying, Brianna is here. You either welcome me or don't welcome me, but I am not backing down from this. This is who I am. And I'll be honest with you, I turn back to writing too because, when you're up and coming musician, sometimes it's hard to get your foot in the door. But I find that it's easier writing the book and marketing it than it was to get my songs played on the radio here in Barbados. I tell myself if I can't express myself through writing my songs, because sometimes I write for people too, then I would express myself through writing books and share it with one person at a time on threads. Whoever bites, bites. It will be a indictment on me not to share this part of me with the world. I have beauty in my soul and the world must see it. And to me, that's what the world needs more of. People that are willing to take the chance, take the risk, and to expose their inner world to the wider world. So that's what Aeon Flame is to me.
With the influences of Star Wars and Harry Potter, I think you will find an audience. You will find your audience. So
Yeah. Well, I think so too. I just gotta keep the marketing, coming up with niches and making sure that my word is safeguarded. Cause I know people out there are always willing to copy. So yeah. So as I said before, this was just a whim idea. I sat down and decided how I was gonna get from point A to point B. And once I sort out that little hiccup with Kaipo, I will have that whole franchise copyrighted in Barbados, but I have it copyrighted in America on the Copyright Society page y'all have. And I already have up to book 4, but to me, book 1 is a pilot. So that when it comes to me releasing book 2, the thieving issues that I had will try to get online, try to get on the various platforms, I will not have a book 2. So I'm taking all the headaches now with book 1. And then we'll fine tune the planning, fine tune the books, fine tune book 2. I mean, it gave me a lot of licks, but it's a labor of love. And it's, as I said, it's my therapy. You will probably start in the next 2 weeks. I soon finish with my university, but I have some other courses coming up. So now it's the time for me to push Because when I start back studying, I probably wouldn't have as much time to market it back every day like I have been doing.
Brianna, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you because I am grateful. You're my first podcast, and I'm like, wow. Information.
Final thoughts. Something early on really caught my attention. Brianna started writing her book as a break from her college studies, which I thought was really cool. My thought is about the opposite of that, though, celebrating big for the little things. Every single step, every little step I take, you will be there. And even the missteps are important because either we move forward or learn something. Besides, didn't you start creating because it was fun? Thank you for joining us, whether it's your first time or this time. If you like what you heard, tell the world. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube, or go to your favorite podcast app and leave a 5-star review. Either way will help more join the conversation. And until next time, see it, hear it, speak it, live. Honestly, that's really cool. I like one of the things I like about let me try it again. One thing I